wait for Sumaya, we can have Jyotsna take her session. Jyotsna, are you ready?
Yes. Hi.
Ooh. Hi, Jyotsna. So glad to see you. Okay, let me just do a brief bio of Jyotsna. Let's give her a warm welcome. Thank you so much, Flora, for bailing us out. So glad. Okay, so Jyotsna is the co-founder and CEO of SpaceSense. She started the company with Sami Yakubi after observing that satellite images could have hundreds of applications in multiple industries, but that the complexity to get information out of these images was extremely high. This was an urgent problem, especially since satellite imagery is one of the most important technologies to mitigate climate change. SpaceSense, a company, aims to solve this problem, and its mission is to make satellite imagery analysis simple and accessible to all industries. Now, someone on one of our participants may be saying, wow, that's a lot. So I would give the floor to you so you can tell your story the way nobody else can.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for the introduction. I know it sounded very complex, but when I started the company, the goal was really simple. One of the situations that I saw was that there's this nonprofit organization called Give Directly, and they were really struggling to support on-ground flood after a flood. So in a region, there was flooding situation, and they were really trying to help on the ground. And the only way they knew where to go help was coming from media. And for me, it was insane. The satellite imagery, there are some satellite imagery which was completely free to use from European Space Agency and NASA. And it is not new to create flood maps to know where is the maximum impact and where should you go help. And for me, it was not acceptable that something so powerful, a technology which is right there, sitting right there, could not be used for something as important as helping people. And that is one of the reasons why I ended up starting the company. But let's start with how did I get there? So for me, growing up, I was fascinated by airplanes, fighter jets, and I really wanted to fly them. And so I felt that, okay, I'm going to be a fighter pilot. But then as I grew up, I had power in my eyes, but then if I have that, I cannot be a fighter pilot. And that was the only pilot I want to be. I didn't want to fly civil aircrafts. So, so then I said, okay, if I can't fly them, I will learn how to make them. And that's why I felt that, okay, I'm going to do engineering, and very specifically, I'm going to learn how to build these planes. And so I did my engineering in aeronautical engineering. This was in India. And actually, it was those 4 years of my engineering helped me learn so much about myself and what I love doing. And I took up every opportunity I got to learn, even outside of my school. Definitely, I was fortunate to be in a school that gave me those opportunities. But one of the opportunities that I got to myself was an internship. And I have to tell you, getting an internship after less than 2 years of engineering in India was a nightmare. No one would take me, or they would be like, oh, you don't know anything. But then I kept going on and on. Maybe I think I applied in 150 places before one person accepted me. Yeah, they were like, what do you even know? You just did 2 years of engineering. But then I persisted. So this team, what they did was they were trying to build biomass stoves, so that they could be placed in rural areas in India to improve how they do their cooking, so that they don't get respiratory problems, and so it's safer for households to cook compared to how it was. So in my 2 months of internship, for them, I built a stove which is portable. So far, it was something they would build out of brick and cement and try to, go to every house and do that, which was not sustainable. So I helped them build something they could assemble. They could just sell it in the market anywhere. Anyone could sell it, and anyone in the village can just go buy it and set it up, and that's good to go. And it was super interesting to learn. And that's how I started learning, design thinking. How do I design technology with the user in mind? It was super fascinating. But what really impacted me the most is few years afterwards, I got in touch with the company, and they told me that the portable stuff that I built was today distributed across many, many villages in India and in the south of India. And that actually improved their everyday health. And they were, in fact, it was such a success that they were funded by a lot of nonprofits to actually give it away for free. And that really struck me. I felt that the work I did, even though it was for 2 months and I was more interested in learning the technology, the impact it was able to create, it really motivated me. And that's when I realized that my passion was really to use technology to solve people's problems. And I felt what is missing now is I'm still very curious to learn more. I don't feel I know a lot of engineering, so I want to continue learning more. But at the same time, I also want to learn how can I bring this technology to the hands of everyday people and to solve their everyday problems. So to that, I was like, okay, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to try to learn this. So I came to France to take up my master's. So I had my course that was 50% engineering and 50% about entrepreneurship, and it was between my school in France and another school in California. It was UC Berkeley and Polytechnique in France. So I think that's where I got my foundations about how to build companies, how to build a technological company. And I learned quite a lot by just trying and doing it myself. And it was around that time that I discovered machine learning, artificial intelligence, and it completely blew my mind because just by learning about it, I realized that this technology can completely change every industry, the way it works and what it can do with what you can do within every industry. And I really had to learn this. So I took up another master's within Polytechnique in France to understand and learn more about machine learning. And I got my job with Airbus, and I used machine learning and artificial intelligence to basically help create autonomous flying vehicles. So all my projects were really futuristic, did not help anyone today, but it's was the stepping stone for maybe what planes would look like in 20 years. So it was definitely fascinating for me as an engineer, but it definitely wasn't. I felt something was missing. I felt I was not creating any immediate impact, and so in my free time, I kept learning different things, exploring different things, and that's when I came around. I got discovered to satellite imagery, the world of satellite imagery, and I saw this sudden shift that was happening in the technological space for satellites. Satellites have been around for over 30 years now, but only in the last 4 or 5 years was this technology opening up and telling everyone that it's not just for the defense companies, it's not just for the government, large governments, but it's for all of you. All of you can use this technology, all of you can benefit from it. And they were making this push. And I knew with machine learning, this can become a real reality where we could really benefit from and solve that problem, where I saw with the flood situation, where this could really, that NGO could have easily used this technology and machine learning to quickly identify which houses were the most hit and where should we first go help them, and without needing to be completely unaware. So I felt that I felt there was an opportunity, but I wasn't sure. So what I did, again, still working at Airbus all this time, I went around and talked to a lot of people, these nonprofit agencies, environmental companies, agriculture companies, retailers, bankers, a lot of people to understand, do you know this data, it's sitting there, this technology, satellite data, you can really use and benefit from it. Do you know that? If you know, why are you not using it? What is stopping you from using it? So I did that for over a year. I built few prototypes for what could be a very good solution. And I think over a year's time, what I realized was a lot of them have the idea that, yes, satellite data could be useful for me. It'd be super useful if I could do this and that. But since it was not something they always used in their business, they didn't know where to start. And they did not have the necessary specialized skills within the team to actually do it. And I said, okay, so I'm going to start this company where I'm going to make it super easy for anyone to benefit from this technology. And for me, the most interest was today for climate change. And I felt that today, to be able to do anything for climate change, you need to be a PhD doctor is sitting in a lab trying to do something very complex. And maybe there are like 10,000 people trying to do that. But by making this satellite data and machine learning together, this technology, in a way that any data scientist can use, and there are millions of data scientists today, and if I can put this in their hands and say, you can really play with this now and create solutions for climate change. So instead of those 10,000 data scientists or 10,000 climate scientists, it's going to be 1 million people across the globe trying to solve 1 million problems all at the same time. And that way it would give us a much better chance for ourselves and for our world. So yeah, so that's what keeps me going every day. The company is 2 years old. We are 12 people. And within the 12 people, we are from six different countries, all in France today, but we are from 6 very different countries, and we're very proud of our diversity. And we hope to continue this way. So that's about me. A few things I wanted to share with you in terms of tech careers and the opportunities in tech. One thing I would say would be that if you are not very early in your career, or you're somewhere in your career and you're looking to make a career shift, it might feel a bit daunting thinking about learning something completely new, something you've never done before. But I'm telling you, tech made it even easier to use tech and have a career in tech. It is easier than ever to have a career in tech, easier than ever to learn something new within technology. There you have internet, and that is all you really need, and some good guides, which is what this part of this program is about, which you will get through this program. Have a good mentor for yourself and internet. That is all you really need. And have some patience and courage and belief in yourself, most importantly, that it's a matter of few weeks before you become super comfortable, and you will work on it like a pro. I can guarantee you that. And the other thing I wanted to touch a little bit upon is, while all these years in tech, or even while studying in engineering, one thing I saw was, as I went through each stage of my tech career, let's say in engineering, there were very few girls going from school to engineering school. Already there were very few girls. I go into aerospace, much fewer number of girls. And I go into my company in aerospace, even fewer. And you look, I was lucky enough to be in the middle of heart of the company. So Airbus is a huge international company, and once you go to a certain level in the CXOs, the heads of departments, and so, the number of women keeps reducing drastically. But then it's always surprising, why does that happen? Growing up in school, it was always the girls that were first in the class, first in everything. What happened in this process? And so it was quite confusing, but I didn't really understand why. But for me, one of the important things that inspirations that kept me believe in myself were to see more women in the top. Maybe just the 1 or 2 I see, but those one or two people in the top help me believe that, I can do this too, you know. And that is why it's more and more important to have more women in tech, to show that it's not a unique skill. Everyone can do this. Women, you don't have to be a man or a woman to be good at something very specific. And luckily at that time, the CTO of Airbus was a woman. It was the first time in its history that they appointed a woman. And I got to have a direct conversation with her. And she herself realized that, yes, there are very few women and you need to bring in more women. And what she did when she joined as CTO, she actually brought up a lot of women up in the positions which were, well, much higher positions than before. And she also started a certain initiative about unconscious bias, so which is there in industries all the time, but you need to acknowledge there is an inherent bias, and to acknowledge it is the first step towards removing that bias. But that's not the important part. The important part is we need more women in tech to make it feel that it's normal, it's nothing challenging. And more importantly, you today, it doesn't matter you're taking your first steps or you're making a little bit change in your career, you need to believe in yourself. And the people who are working where you want to go work, they are not very special from you. They are maybe a few months ahead of you, a couple of years ahead of you, but you can get there. And more importantly, do not be afraid to take up challenges. You don't need to have 100% skills of what they're asking you to actually apply for that job. You apply for a job where you see this is interesting for you, you can learn and grow from it, and you can also add value to it from your perspective. Even if you meet 50% of it, that's good enough. You need to have the confidence and show the confidence that you're going to learn the remaining 50%, but you're adding more than 100% of your perspective and your skills to actually do a much better job in that new role. And that is something I encourage every girl I meet, because I see that a lot. Women usually don't apply to jobs unless they are 100% sure they're really good at it already. Don't do that mistake. Apply for opportunities where you want to go learn and grow, and not that you've already solved it. So that's it on my end. I'm really open to any questions you have.
Thank you, Jyotsna. Thank you so much. That was insightful. Thank you so much. And one of the things that I can really take away from your session is the fact that we have to constantly challenge ourselves as women, be willing to take up new opportunities. And I also like the fact that you try to identify the challenges that are going on in the world and how technology can solve those problems, in a way that is easy for everyone. So it's more or less like you're pushing an all-inclusive agenda for technology. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, so if you have any questions for Jyotsna, please put in the Q&A section, and we'll be happy to take them. Okay. Applause, applause. You have a lot of fans. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very happy I got an opportunity to talk today. Thank you all.
Okay. We have a question here. What tech program can one create to help people with autism?
I don't have a direct answer, but I do believe there are a few programs. It's not about which exact tech program, right? Because the tech is quite vast and diverse. But what you can do is look at a few programs and see how can you enable an autistic person to be able to become good at that. It's about enabling, so they might need special equipment, possibly, and also help them understand, is it the more creative side of it that they might be interested within tech or something else? And we might need to develop certain tools. I'm very sure there are many companies that are working on such tools, but I would recommend you to have a look at those tools and try to start with one program, one specialty in tech that they can get started with.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, we have a question from YouTube, Adedolamo, who says, to be a UI UX designer, where do I start?
I would say this conference. I think following this conference, there's a program and there is a there is a team around UI UX. So at least they'll get you started. But with the mentor today, and you can identify a ton of online content from where you can get started, even for free. And that would be your best bet to get started. And for tech, what is fantastic is there is a global community. So not only can you learn for free from this global community, but you can also work for the whole global community. So I would say start with having a mentor, because internet is quite diverse and you won't know where to start. So start with a mentor in this program to guide you through where to start, and it's all on the internet otherwise.
Okay, thank you. We have a pretty specific question here from Neka. She says, how do I apply tech in my business as a food processor?
Oh, that's a super interesting question. I really appreciate you asking that. So as a food processor, there are different avenues where you can use tech, and it very much depends on what are you trying to improve. So it can be in terms of operations. There are different ways how you improve your operations. There are different ways how do you monitor what is happening more real time, so that you could reduce your operating downtimes and so and so. So there, those are one avenue, and the other avenue can even be to look at showing that your business is more sustainable or more green. So there are different ways to do that in tech itself. So it really comes down to your business. I would encourage you to understand where is it that you want, what is it that you want to do, what is your business goal, and then try to look at avenues that would help you do that. So I think doing that is first. And if you really feel you don't know where to start, feel free to contact me. I would be happy to chat with you.
Thank you. So you'll be dropping your contact details, probably LinkedIn, towards the end. But before we do that, I would like to bring Mary on board. I think she has a few thoughts to share with us on the question about autism. So Mary, you have the floor.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Okay, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
so talking about the autism question, asking about the question tech program, I would say mixed reality. I was privileged to have an idea of autism because I did a research on that use of digital twin for dementia, and I know that dementia patients they have attention deficit that is the symptoms is quite the same with autism. So if you can go into mixed reality, that's mixed reality is virtual reality, and what's it called, AR, VR, you know. Yeah, if you can go really into that, you will really be successful. And to be on point with that, I want us to be dementia, autism, all the ADHD, attention deficit, and all those related symptoms is what we really need now. As in, apart from cancer, is really killing people now. It's really not killing them, but is really disturbing them just because of the lockdown, COVID lockdown. So most specialists, they've lost the contact of what's it called, the symptom follow-up symptoms, the symptom follow-up with the patient. So if you can go into mixed reality. And another thing, if you now want to go into data scientists, talked about the chatbot that is relating with them very well. That's those are 2 points I think I want to add. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mary. Thank you for that. Okay, do we have any further questions? We have a comment from Blewa. I'm so sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. So she says, understanding what exactly is the problem you want to target and the gaps, you know, in existing technologies will help, in addition to what Jyotsna has said. All right, so Jyotsna, if we want to connect with you after, you know, this webinar, how can we reach out to you if you have additional questions as well?
So LinkedIn is a very good starting point. And yeah, I can also share my email ID with you to reach out to me.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's give her a warm applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I don't know if Sumaya is ready now for us. Sumaya, are you ready for us? Right, we have her here. Drum roll. Okay, thank you, Jyotsna, once again. So we have Sumaya here. Like I said earlier, she is a 14-year-old software developer, keynote speaker, YouTuber, and STEM promoter from Lagos, Nigeria. She's the founder of Cresu,